Health Diary, brought to you by Brookside Dairy Plus. Live Life Plus with Brookside.
Well, hi there. It's good to see you right here on Health Diary. I hope that you're having yourselves an amazing Sunday. My name is Winnie Lubembe, and today on the show, we'll be focusing on low-calorie diet. So, first of all, what exactly does that look like? Who is supposed to be on low-calorie diet? And even a better question is, where does milk fall in this calorie intake? Well, we'll find out after this fact of the matter. A low-calorie diet involves restricting daily caloric intake to a specific level, typically between 1,000 and 1,500 calories, to create a calorie deficit and promote weight loss. The goal is to consume fewer calories than the body uses, leading to the body drawing from its energy stores for fuel. While low-calorie diets are generally safe, especially for those who are overweight or obese, consulting with a healthcare professional or registered dietitian is recommended before starting any significant dietary changes, especially if you have pre-existing health conditions. All right, let's get to understand more about low-calorie diet and what it's all about, what you need to know about it. But most importantly, we'll be focusing a little bit about milk and all the myths and misconceptions surrounding milk, especially when we're talking about low-fat or fat-free, and especially plant-based as well. There's a lot of myths surrounding the same, so you do not want to miss any part of this conversation. But also, a reminder that this episode has been sponsored by Brookside Plus. Remember, it's all about Live Life Plus. And today on set, we have various products from Brookside Plus. And I'm pretty sure you've seen how the set looks like. We have Brookside Plus low-fat milk, which is available in 250 ml, 500 ml, as well as 1 liter. We also have Brookside Plus fat-free milk, which is available in 500 ml, as well as 1 liter. We also have Brookside almond milk, as well as Brookside soy milk. We'll be talking a little bit about them as we continue with the conversation. But our guest today, he is not so new. You know him by now. But just in case you're tuning in today for the very first time, we have George Omola, who's the founder and president, Kenya Nutrition and Dietetics Students Association, also known as KENSA.
Yes.
Good to see you once again. How are you doing?
Thank you so much. I'm very well.
Yeah.
I'm very happy to be here.
And it's so good to see you once again.
Thank you.
You know, when we talk about calories, and before we even tackle low-calorie diet, there's a whole lot of conversations around calories, and you need to monitor your calories. You need to know how much calories you're taking. Mm-hmm. But can we just understand what they are? When we say calories, what exactly does that even mean?
Yes. Well, calories, these are simply, food items from energy-dense foods that will tend to increase your blood glucose level.
Okay.
Yeah, so those is what we call calories. Okay. So we have foods that are very high in calories. You have those that are low in calories. Okay. So if a food is high in calorie, that means they're so energy dense and they're able to spike your blood glucose level. Mm. If it's low, it means they are low energy dense, so they cannot spike your blood glucose levels.
Okay.
Yes.
But is it such a bad thing though?
No, it's not a bad thing, but it depends with your conditions again. Okay. Because we are looking at medical conditions, we are looking at the state you as an individual. So it will depend on which one to advise someone to take. So there are other factors that you have to look into before you give that advice.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when you say some foods are high, are calorie dense and others are low in calories, can we give examples of, say, those ones that are high in calories and then focus now on low calories?
All right. So we have, processed foods or sugary foods or on beverages, for instance, like soda, as a simple example. They are majorly made from simple carbohydrates. Mm-hmm. So because of that, the calorie in it is very high, so they can spike your blood glucose level at a very high rate. Okay. Then we have things like, whole grains, vegetables, fruits. They are from complex carbohydrates, which they take some time to be digested into your system. So they release calories in small bits in a slower rate, so they cannot spike your blood glucose level.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So looking at our Kenyan context,
yes,
okay, and we as a people,
yes,
where would you say our calorie intake looks like?
That is it's actually a current debate. But see, now our diet has been affected by our diet is more westernized. We are trying to shift into westernized diets.
Okay.
And that's a big problem. In fact, what we call nutrition transition. So we've abandoned what we used to take traditionally, and we're now adapting to what the westernized are taking, and see that it's more of processed foods and fast foods, which has high calorie content.
Okay.
And that's why you are seeing a rise in non-communicable diseases. Yeah.
So let's look at then at low calorie, diets and what that looks like. Because like I said, it also depends with the condition,
Yes.
that you have. But at the basic level,
Yes.
when we say low calorie diet, what are some of those examples that we need to be looking at, either in terms of preparation or intake or the amount or the type? Yeah.
I'll begin from trying to define what we mean by low calorie diet.
Yes.
So when we talk about low calorie diet, what it simply means is a diet that provides fewer calories than the total energy requirement for the day.
Okay.
And this is usually prescribed. So it has to be done by a nutritionist. You cannot just do it in the house.
Okay.
Or somebody cannot recommend for you. It has to be a qualified nutritionist. Because there are so many factors we look into before you are prescribed for calorie free diet. We usually call it calorie restricted diet.
Okay.
What we are trying to do is we are trying to give you fewer calories than your total energy requirement for the day.
All right.
And when you talk about fewer calories, what we mean is that your meals should have at least less 500 kilocalories per day.
Okay.
And that will help us to ensure by the end of the 7 days in a week, you've at least lost half or 1 kg. And there are a lot of scientific ways to arriving into a way to make sure that you reach that weight. So first, what we do, we have to determine your overall energy needs. This, you have to look at your physical activity, you have to look at your sex, your age, height, all those kind of things.
Right.
And we use formulas to arrive at that. So there's what we call Harris-Benedict formula. That's a formula used by nutritionists. So that formula determines your energy needs. And that formula is to help us determine your basal energy expenditure. The least amount of energy you utilize it when you're resting. We call it basal energy expenditure. So once you're able to get the basal energy expenditure, let's say it's X kilocalories, then you look at your physical activity level. Are you leading a sedentary lifestyle, which means you're not active because you're kwa desk? Or are you slightly active, which means you can do at least 1 to 3 exercises per day in a week?
Okay.
Or are you moderately active, which means you are doing at least 3 to 5 exercises per day in a week?
Okay.
Or are you very active or extremely active? So each of those activity levels, ziko na coefficient numbers in each of them.
Okay.
So once you get your energy demand for the day, tuna multiply na hiyo coefficient. Kuna coefficients ziko nazo.
Yeah.
So tell me, for example, low activity in 1.2. So we take 1.2 and we multiply na ile energy needs tulipata. Then whatever we get, since our aim is to make you reduce weight, and we said for low calorie, the aim is to ensure you reduce 500 kilocalories per day. Then tuna minus ile 500 to that energy tumepata.
Okay.
So whatever we get as a result, ndio tunatumia to help you manage to come with the meal plan.
Okay.
Which includes what you take in breakfast, what you take in snacks in between, lunch, dinner.
Yeah.
So that utatumia for a long time. And you have to be under those conditions nimesema. Either you're overweight, you're obese, you're hypertensive and overweight, you are diabetic or overweight, or you are about to go for bariatric surgery or gallbladder surgery.
Yeah.
So it's not for anyone.
But I was about to ask that. What about Mkenya wa kawaida who does not have any of those conditions? Should they be concerned about calories and how much they are taking, or no?
Now, this one we are saying is not for everyone, and it has to be done under supervision, medical supervision, in fact, nutrition supervision, because there's a high risk of malnutrition if not done well. Now, if a common man, let's say somebody like me and you, who are not in that bracket of those conditions, and you go for low-calorie diet for long term, there are a lot of side effects. First, malnutrition. You may suffer malnutrition. Okay. Secondly, if you're a lady, you may start experiencing irregular menstruations. Sometimes even infertility may come up.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So that's why it's not a milk for everyday consumption.
Yeah.
This is mostly done in the hospital setup. Even as you work to make sure that the client or the patient is reducing that 500 kilocalories, half to 1 kg per week, it has to be done gradually. Because again, if you make the client lose weight so fast, they may also end up gaining it again so fast.
Oh, I see.
Yes.
I see. Okay, now I understand what you're saying. Has to be under.
It has to be gradual supervision.
Supervision by a nutritionist.
Yes.
Okay. Now, can we talk about milk and where does it fall? Because milk is, I want to say, one of the most consumed products in our homes, from children all the way to adults.
Yeah.
But although there are a lot of people who think adults do not need milk, right?
Yes.
But before we even talk about the myths and misconceptions surrounding milk, so where does it fall in the calorie index?
All right. Now, if you look at milk, we look at maybe in 3 dimensions. We have whole milk, the one that all of us use in our households.
Mm-hmm.
So this whole milk, it has all the 13 nutrients which is available in milk.
Okay.
Then it also has fat. Now, if you look at whole milk, it gives us 65 kilocalories per 100 ml.
Mm.
It's so energy dense.
Okay.
So at least in 100 ml of that milk, you'll get 65 kilocalories.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, in that 65 kilocalories, if you look at the energy that whole milk is providing, it will give you, the energy content is 3.3 gram of energy, which translates to 2.5 saturated fats.
Okay.
And this is very important because we are going to discuss low-fat milk.
Yes.
Because I want us to do comparison and people will understand better what we mean by low-fat. In low-fat milk gives you 45 kilocalories per 100 ml. Ile ilikuwa 65. You can see there's a decline.
Yes.
Because fat content imetolewa.
All right.
And that means even if you look at the fat imetolewa kabisa, because the fat now in low-fat milk is about it's actually 1.5, which translates to 1.2 gram of saturated fat. So even see the fat content is lower, and that's why the energy is lower.
All right.
If you come to fat-free, now it's even different. The fat-free now, the energy is in fact even much lower. It's now 34 kilocalories per 100 ml. You can see the decline.
Yes.
The more you reduce the fat, the more the energy declines in those milks.
Okay. So we also have plant-based milk,
Yes.
right? And on set today we have soy and almond. Where do they fall? Yes.
All right. Plant-based milk, these are milks that are usually designed to be given to people suffering from milk allergies, which means they cannot take dairy products. Wakichukua, they start having those reactions, which can be also life-threatening. So for them who cannot use any dairy products, be it cheese, all those dairy products, then plant-based milks becomes their choice.
Okay.
Usually, the one that is closest to dairy milk inakuanga soy, because the protein content is much closer to the cow's milk.
All right.
Yeah, but they are good for somebody who has lactose intolerance and also somebody who has those conditions we just described, because their fat content is very low.
It's very low.
In fact, the fat content is 0.3 gram. It's like the fat-free.
Yeah.
It's very low.
Very low.
So if you have those conditions we just described, you want to manage your weight, plant-based you can go plant-based, or you can go fat-free or low-fat.
Low-fat.
Yes.
Interesting. All right. Let's take a break. And then when we come back now, we'll go deeper into understanding. So first of all, how did you know that you're taking more calories than you should?
Yes.
And then dig deeper really into understanding low calorie diet and the impact that it has, on our general well-being. But just to remind you that this episode has been made possible by Brookside Plus. And today we have Brookside Plus low-fat milk, which is available in 250 ml, 500 ml, as well as 1 liter. We also have Brookside Plus fat-free milk, which is available in 500 ml, as well as 1 liter. We also have Brookside almond milk, as well as Brookside soy milk. Well, let's take a break. We'll see you right after.
Health Diary, brought to you by Brookside Dairy Plus. Live Life Plus with Brookside. Health Diary, brought to you by Brookside Dairy Plus. Live Life Plus with Brookside.
Welcome back to the show. The show is Health Diary, and today we are focusing on low-calorie diet. And the show has been made possible by Brookside Plus. And today we have Brookside Plus low-fat milk, which is available in 250 ml, 500 ml, as well as 1 liter. We have Brookside Plus fat-free milk, which is available in 500 ml, as well as 1 liter. We also have Brookside almond milk as well as Brookside soy milk. And today on the show, we have George back with us. And George Omondo is the founder and president of Kenya Nutrition and Dietetics Students Association, or KENSA, if you like. And we were talking about milk and where milk false
Yes.
because again it's one of those heavily consumed product in many Kenyan homes, but there's so many myths surrounding the same.
Sure.
Despite the fact that we all love and use milk, but there's so many myths surrounding them. What are some of these common ones that you've come across?
That milk is only meant for children, not for adults. That is one of the commonest
We think
myths.
that all the time.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, first of all, it is true milk is for children because that is, their sole nutrition value. That's what they get.
Yeah.
But see, because milk will provide you proteins, and in fact, high quality proteins, it will give you calcium, vitamin A, and all this, about 19 nutrients. But see, even you as an adult, you need calcium, right? You need vitamin A, you need vitamin D. And all those are available in milk. And you find sometimes the older we get, we become prone to bone diseases, osteoporosis and such, because our bones tend to be more brittle. And milk being a very good source of calcium, vitamin D, it's very good for such premenopausal women, adults who are very active. So, and milk is a source. So milk is meant for everyone.
Okay.
Everyone.
Okay.
Unless you have some conditions, I think we shall still mention. Yeah. Yes.
But another one that I've had is like plant-based milk.
Yes.
Does not have, all the nutrients that one needs, or most important nutrients that one needs. I don't know whether this is true or not.
Well, that is we can still call it a myth because it's a milk, but it's derived from plants, not from dairy.
Okay.
And for it to be called a milk, it has it has calcium, it has protein, it has vitamin A, potassium, magnesium, all these things. Probably what we can argue is that the level or the content vis-a-vis.
Okay.
The content might be a little bit lower, but they are there. So the nutrients are there.
All right.
Yes.
Milk. Okay. I'm just gonna read what I had. It's full of harmful hormones and antibiotics. True or not?
Well, that we can discuss it a bit because there's some truth in it.
Okay.
Well, it's a myth, but there's some truth in it which I'll talk about. If you look at the production of people who do large-scale animal production, sometimes cows go sick or dairy may get sick. They may come down with a bacterial infection. So the only treatment available is an antibiotic.
All right.
But for those companies who are rearing cows for commercial use, what happens that any cow or animal or dairy that has been put into antibiotics, they're usually isolated for milk production because there are very standard regulations that take place before your milk ifike kwa consumer. Yeah, so that is a myth. It creates a lot of fear, but we should get it as a myth. The problem should be those who are selling us milk at the roadsides because we don't know what safety regulations they have taken. Yeah, we don't know. Yeah.
All right, and another one that I'm also a bit concerned about is like milk helps you to gain weight, makes you gain weight.
Yes, milk, just like any other food, when consumed in excess, of course, will help you gain weight. Because remember, it has fat, especially if you take whole milk. Yeah, because the energy level, the energy is very high, 65 kilocalories. So if you over-consume it again, of course, it will gain weight.
Yeah.
But if you look at low-fat milk, it's quite different because the fat content is much lower. So you may not gain as much weight.
Okay.
So it depends on which one you're using and how you're using it.
Yeah. Like the ones we have here, we have low-fat and fat-free.
So those ones are basically for weight reduction.
Okay.
Yeah.
And speaking about, patients with certain conditions, so we've talked about hypertensive patients, but what about those ones, who are diabetic?
Yes. Diabetic patients as well. Because remember when you talk about diabetes, we mean that your sugar level is quite high. So we need to control your blood glucose level.
All right.
Yeah, and we've looked at low-fat milk. We've seen that the fat content is much lower and the energy content is much lower compared to whole milk. So for these patients who are diabetic, then low-fat milk becomes the best choice.
Okay, so also there's some people who are very active, like you said earlier on when we started the show, in terms of, the exercises that they're doing. And water we know is very
good.
Very much, it's good.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
But also milk is another better option, right?
Yes.
How then can this active people utilize the benefit of milk to, again, ensure that they keep the healthy, active lifestyle?
Yeah. So what happens when you are undergoing extraneous physical activity like an exercise and you're done, see your body utilizes the muscles and unapata after exercise or gym, they experience a lot of pain.
Yeah.
sometimes pretty a lot of muscle aches and pains.
Yeah.
And milk becomes a very good source to rejuvenate the muscles. Yeah, and especially low fat.
Yeah.
Because the fat content is chini, but the protein in milks are high quality. You can whey protein, it has casein.
Okay.
Those are very high quality proteins, which helps in muscle recovery. We talked about also muscle aging. You see, as we age, you also lose our muscle content. You've seen, if you look at me, for example, somebody who's much older, the muscle content is much different.
Yeah, it's different.
So we'll recommend also milk for such kind because it will help in muscle recovery because of the high quality proteins in milk.
Okay.
And that protein is available either in low fat, fat-free, lactose intolerant, it's all there.
Yeah.
Yes.
But what about those ones who do the protein shakes and, let's move protein before you hit the gym. Is this also advisable for them to include in their shakes?
Yes, they can include because, like you said, their milk has high quality proteins. The whey protein and casein, so they can still use. It will help in muscle recovery, which is highly needed when somebody is undergoing a physical exercise. Yeah, you're going to the gym or you are from the gym, you need to recover. So they can use it.
Either or. Instead of using just water.
Of course.
And then and with mixing with, all these other things.
Yeah.
And as we bring this to a close, so how then can somebody know whether they're taking, high calorie or low calorie? Like, are there physical manifestations of the same? And then how do we sort of tone it down without cases of malnutrition coming into play?
All right. So there can be manifestations. For example, if you are a lady, for instance, and you're experiencing irregular periods, or maybe infertility issues may come up, or you are having eating disorders, the binge eating and those kind of stuff. So and then of course you're reducing weight at a very high rate. Yeah. So you need to seek consultation from a nutritionist to take you through, to check you well. Then you're able to determine, of course, if there's any problem, then they can advise you into the best meal plan to use. Again, and then it is individualized. See what I'm using, you can also use. The quantity I'm using can also use. No, it depends on my age, sex, height, weight, physical activity, and many other factors.
Yeah. All right. So what is it that you'd want someone to get out from today's conversation as far as low calorie, diets and what it looks like and where milk falls? I know we talked about it earlier, but just in case someone missed out on that part, and I'll take that as your parting shot. Yeah,
there has been a lot of conversation about low-fat milk being just water. And it has no nutrients. And again, I want to debunk that because when talk about low-fat milk, we said it has all the nutrients that milk has. The only difference is that the fat content is much lower. Removing fat does not mean removing nutrients. So that people need to know.
Okay.
And low-calorie diet or low or fat-free milk, they are meant for people suffering from certain conditions that we've talked about. So it's not again for everyone.
Okay.
And again, if you're supposed to take it, don't take it for quite too long. If your condition has been managed, then you gradually take you back into caloric diet. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you very much, George. Very, very insightful, conversation today. And George Omolo is a founder and president, Kenya Nutrition and Dietetics Students Association, or KENSA. And also, just a reminder that today's show was made possible by Brookside Plus. And today we had Brookside Plus low-fat milk, which is available in 250 ml, 500 ml, as well as 1 liter. We also had Brookside Plus fat-free milk, which is available in 500 ml and 1 liter. And we also had Brookside almond milk as well as Brookside soy milk. Well, the choice is yours. Okay, well, time now for you to take a look at this health tip.
So today I have 2 breakfast options. And this side here, it's a breakfast option for a person who is working out or a person who uses a lot of energy during the day. So here with me, I have a bowl of oatmeal porridge. I have a fruit salsa, and I have a samosa. And why oatmeal? It's because it has a lot of fiber, and this helps with digestion, and this gives you a lot of energy. So it also helps in constipation, and also it slows the production of glucose and sugars in your system. And goes well with a cup of hibiscus tea, that's an herbal tea. And this on this side, I have a lighter meal for breakfast for a person who's sitting in the office, which work is not too much. And my breakfast today for this person is fish fingers and some raw vegetables. And the fish fingers will give you protein, it gives you energy during the day because you're not using a lot of energy, and this will keep you full throughout the day. And also this you can take along with an herbal tea, which is my hibiscus tea.
Well, that marks it for today's conversation on low-calorie diet. Now I know you know better. And for those people who reduce on your calories without consulting a nutritionist, how about you stop, speak to a nutritionist, get a meal plan, and then from there, you can decide what works for you. But if you have any other question, our social media handles are down on the bottom of your screen. My name is Winnie Lubembe. Until next time, adios. It's the sun. Uliza deno, tumetoka hapa tukakuja hapa. Where does milk fall in the calorie index?
Health Diary was brought to you by Brookside Dairy Plus. Live Life Plus with Brookside.
Brookside Plus probiotic yogurt provides you the goodness of good bacteria for a healthy gut and a good immune system.